Okay, so we're going to talk about Educate Workforce and how we're using edX. So this Educate Workforce is tailored to two-year institutions and industry, and we're focusing on technician education. And so we have specifically for advanced manufacturing. And so we have a couple courses down below that we're offering. These you can go sign up, and these are free courseware. So we started with manufacturing safety, quality, process production maintenance are the first ones we started here. So we're applying a design for learning, universal design for learning. We're using these first three components from edX, and we're adding this what we call virtual reality, more of a kind of game-like experience. So we are using edX video. We're using closed captioning. We're doing some assessment problems. This showcases a milling machine. And so we have a corresponding ebook that follows that. So here we have, this is kind of just to show you here. These are two virtual realities. We have one on the left is a grinding machine. One on the right is a manufacturing facility where you're, the person's going through and tagging all the violations for safety reasons. Okay, so I'll skip down this one. You can kind of see. So they would pick this as a slip, trip, or fall. And so here's some things that we're trying to do with that. And we'll try to go.
All right, so currently we're using a self-hosted instance of edX for our deployment. We're using three primary applications with edX. We're using LMS, CMS, and Insights. We first deployed LMS and CMS back in 2014, and we just got Insights up and running in 2015. We're currently running the Cypress release in production, but we are actively trying to get Ubuntu 14.04 deployed this summer with a Dogwood release or newer, possibly. We have approximately 2,600 registered accounts with our deployment. This is just the three applications that we have deployed. And this is an overall target diagram for what our deployment looks like. We use Amazon Web Services for some of the static content that we serve up. And this is just how we kind of have our application services laid out internally with our hosting structure. And then as far as support goes, we serve several institutions with our group. And so we have Jira, Atlassian Jira and Confluence that we use to field support requests from all of our users. We use the help submission forms with edX to field these requests and automatically route them to the correct Jira help desk location, and allows us to triage the tickets and do reporting at the end of the year to get an idea of what areas or what classes or what institutions we had the most problems with. And that's it.
So the first three links, if you want to read more about Educate Workforce, you can go here. This is our actual LMS stand-up. If you need to contact us, we're support. We actually work for Center for Workforce Development at Clemson University, and this is a National Science Foundation Advanced Technological Education Center called CAVES, and that does the virtual reality portion that you saw. That's it.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Eugenie. I'm from OpenCraft, and today I'm going to talk about a feature we developed last year in January or something. Yeah, I took my time preparing the talk. So this is about content libraries, which allows you to organize content materials in a reusable way, like videos, images, and problems across multiple courses. Here's our logo, our main email, and so on. So this is basically how it works. I think it should be self-explanatory, especially if I clarify that bluish boxes are libraries, reddish are courses, and white things inside them are course blocks. Simply put, content libraries are containers where you can put your content, course materials, and then you can draw things out of them to use it in a course. So looking at the diagram, you can deduce that there should be a way to instruct LMS to pull the content from specific library and display it in a particular place in the course. This duty is fulfilled by a special Xblock that we developed as well. It is called randomized content Xblock, and I think it is enabled by default in the EDX platform. Yeah, so this is how it looks like in Studio. So content libraries use familiar controls to add problems, HTML blocks, and videos. Import and export is supported, and some collaborative editing, like with the courses. So library author can invite other people to work together on the library. One other feature is that it supports hiding Xblock previews to save some real estate in order to not display 50 blocks with all the contents inside, and the paging. So randomized content block draws content from library, tracks library versions. So if library contents are changed, it detects it and shows friendly reminder you can see on the screen. And it also have a couple of useful for original use case features like filtering problems by problem type, like checkboxes, text input, and so on. And it was designed to prevent cheating by sharing answers to problems. And it does so by drawing drawing contents from the library for a student the first time it is shown to the student. So the contents remain stable for the single student, but difference across the students. Okay, demo time. I don't know, does it work like that? No? Sorry? I don't want to close it. I just want to switch to Safari. Yeah. No? Not like that?
You just Alt-Tab on the keyboard.
Alt-Tab, okay. Yay! Yay! Not this one, though. Yeah, this one. So, we switch to libraries, and we have one library, Jedi Archives, already created. So I'm going to create new library, give it a name, organization OpenCraft, code 1. I said 1. Okay, in order to save some time, I'm going to just import it. Here it is. Just bear with me. Oh, no, I haven't copied it. Okay, we'll just pretend we have two libraries. We can create a course, something, OpenCraft, craft, 1, 1, 1, go. First of all, we need to add randomized content Xblock to advanced module list, which is done by editing library content. Save. Now we go to outline, add new section, new subsection, new unit, and voila. And we add randomized content block. So it instructs that we haven't selected library. We do that. It displays like we said we want to. We set a name. It's actually doesn't matter because it's not displayed at all. We select library. This is a drop-down, so we choose the one that actually have something in it, and we click save. Cool. F5. No? Okay, that's it for a demo. So just give me a couple of seconds.
That was it, dude. You're done.
Yeah, that's it. So further developments would be to add a couple of more Xblocks to use
You're done.
different,
You're done.
whatever. I don't care. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm Braden McDonald. I'm part of the OpenCraft team, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the improvements to the drag and drop Xblock that we've been working on as part of the edX solutions team. So there's a drag and drop component that you can put in your courses in edX, and we've been working on a new Xblock. The Xblock itself has been around for a while, and we've been adding some new features to it and improving it. We've added mobile support, so now the drag and drop feature will work in the edX mobile app. We've added keyboard support, so keyboard users can now do the drag and drop exercise completely using a keyboard, and you don't need to use a mouse. We've added new pedagogy for it, so instead of dragging everything into place and then checking your answer, there's now one that will give you instant feedback every time you drag an option onto the target. And I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. And UX improvements. And we've let authors play with colors and made editing easier in Studio. So that's an overview of what's new in the drag and drop Xblock, and this is what the old one looks like. If any of you have done the edX demo course, you've no doubt played with this at some point. So here's the new version. You can see here, this is what it looks like. You can see the instant feedback here. If I drag it onto the wrong one, it jumps back. If I drag it onto the correct one, if I can see how many letters are in there. If I drag it onto the correct one, it stays there. With the easy-to-use editor, it's easier to create really nice, fancy problems. Here's a map of Canada. If you get it wrong, you can have hints that come up that say, oh, here's some advice that will help you learn it. And I'll just show you here. So now you can see as I press tab, I'm moving among the different options with the keyboard. And if I choose one with enter, it moves me down here. And then I can use the keyboard to move among the different drop targets. I can pick one, and I got it wrong in this case, so it jumps back. But if I want to, I can go here, grab one, put it in place, and I can complete the whole exercise like that just using the keyboard. So this is going to be in Eucalyptus. You can also install it on Dogwood today if you also install the new version of Xblock utils. And please plan to use this in your courses with Eucalyptus. That's it.
So, back in March of 2016, by the way, my name is John Swope. I'm the founder of Curriculum, and we offer online education solutions to our clients who are in the corporate and the higher education space. And back in March 2016, my team was very happily developing a parallel online program to an existing on-campus program. And we were ready to deliver our first full term, which would be 4 courses, about 50 students per course. However, we ran into 2 problems. One was that we didn't actually end up having the budget for new faculty for this program. And 2, for reasons that I still don't understand, the existing faculty did not want to teach twice to 2 different cohorts. So we got into a meeting. And during the meeting, we decided that the solution for this was going to be to build out a hybrid program that could accommodate both the online and the on-campus students simultaneously in the same class. This came with its own problems. The first was that there was very little money for a program like this. And the second was that there was even less time. We had about 2 months to design, to develop, and to implement this before students actually showed up for class. So we built out a workflow, and what was going to happen is we're going to have two different cohorts. We have an online cohort, and we have an online cohort taking the exact same class. So let's call it a Philosophy 101 class. OpenEdX is at the core of the experience. Everything that is not a lecture is hosted on OpenEdX. So students access their pre-reading there, their videos, their discussions. And in a typical week, what they'll do is they'll do their readings, they'll watch a video, they'll discuss that video, and then they'll come into lecture. And lecture is where things diverge a little bit. For the on-campus students, it's very much like this experience. It's very much what they're used to. They go into a classroom, their lecturer is there, there's a presentation at the front of the room. But for the online students, they actually attend that lecture virtually via web conference from everywhere in the globe. So this is the format that we came up with, but it has a few kind of challenges that we needed to address. The first one is how do we prevent the faculty from focusing just on their in-person students? What we were doing in this approach is we're putting the faculty back behind a podium. And unlike me, the faculty love it. They love being in a classroom. They love having students there who are in front of them. And the temptation is very real for them to focus just on those students and to the dismay of the students who are online who might need their attention. The second problem that we had was how do we ensure the discussion between the online and the in-person students is as natural and as equal as possible. What we wanted to do is kind of build out this kind of town hall feel to the discussion, which in my opinion is kind of the holy grail of online education, these online courses, because if you ever meet someone who wants to be a little bit nasty and poke a hole into your program, you know, I'm sure many of us have heard it before, what they generally say is, well, these online courses, they can't mimic the feel of an in-class discussion. So we wanted to get as close as we possibly could. So I have 2 minutes left. So we already were running OpenEdX. We got a classroom about 15 by 20. We put a computer at the front running Zoom. We put a webcam in the back. We put a microphone in there. And then we added what's called a TA moderator to the process. The TA moderator has a pretty critical role. What they do is they act as the liaison, essentially, between the lecturer at the front of the room and the online students. So they will actually ensure that the lecturer doesn't need to pay attention to the technology. They can just teach. And the TA moderator will alert the faculty if there's a question or if there's something coming in the chat box. So this is what it looks like. And sorry the pictures aren't better. We just, like I said, well, I didn't say because I skipped the intro. But we're very early on in this process. So on the left side is an online student view. They can see the faces of their classmates. They can see their lecturer. They can see their room. And if there were a presentation being displayed, they can see that presentation full screen. From an on-campus student perspective, they're in the classroom, so there's not much difference there. They can see the presentation at the front of the room, similar to this. And if a student is speaking who's online, then the active speaker comes up in the front of the room. So they can see and talk to their students from the classroom. It's a little bit sci-fi, but the conversation has been incredibly natural. And that's been the big takeaway. The conversations that happen in this classroom in the 5 weeks we've been running it have been really, for me, kind of groundbreaking. So we have delivered synchronous courses before where we have faculty use web conference. And those have worked fairly well, but there seemed to always be something kind of missing, especially from a faculty perspective. So in my opinion, I'm going to skip over some of these benefits here because we're short on time. But the faculty being in their natural habitat, to me, that's a huge differentiator. Faculty like being in the classroom. They teach differently. The conversation is more natural. You know, it doesn't feel like a tool. It feels like you're in the classroom, so it doesn't feel like there's a tool. It's in the way. You know, from a faculty perspective, fairly natural. And this is a cheat sheet. Thank you.